The NFL Draft's first round concluded last night, and it is time to turn the page to day 2, where we have round number 2 and round number 3. The Dolphins hold 2 selections on the draft of tonight. As we currently stand, we'll look at what 2 picks to have and look at who the Dolphins may take in this 2 rounds tonight. Little mock draft, if you will. But let's quickly discuss what happened last evening when the Dolphins selected Michigan defensive lineman Kenneth Grant with that 13th overall pick. I have decided to give it an A- grade due to how the first round played out. It was clear that defensive linemen were going off the board rapidly, and Grier wanted to certify one of his top guys on the board. He was number 5 on my overall big board for Miami, and with the players available at 13, he was my 3rd guy on my big board, just trailing Will Johnson and Jahdae Barron. So I gave it an A- grade, an instant impact player who's going to start right next to Zach Sealer, helping the run game, has a high motor, high character, high culture guy, also able to get after the pass rusher, or get after the quarterback as a pass rusher, I should say. But after you took Kenneth Grant in the first round, the needs in day 2 were pretty clear. I think that the Dolphins are likely going to go with corner, O-line, and safety. Now, obviously, they're not going to draft all 3 positions unless they somehow accumulate a 3rd day 2 pick. But assuming that they're going to keep the 2 picks that they have, I expect the 2 picks to be used on these 3 positions. They need another safety, they desperately need another corner, and they're still looking for that new starting left guard as well. It's the only starting spot on that offensive line that is not fully filled. And when you look at the Dolphins pick on day 2, I alluded to them having dose. That would be at pick number 48 and pick number 98. The 3rd round pick is due to a comp pick from Robert Hunt leaving. 48 is obviously their own pick. So they have a middle of the pack 2nd round pick and one of the last picks of the 3rd round to potentially add to this Dolphins roster. Before we do our little mock draft, look at the top players available. Who do you want the Dolphins to draft? I probably am going to assume that a lot of people are going to want a little bit of Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan. He is certainly my top guy as well. We'll go through these players and do my official mock draft here in just a second, but let me know who you want down in the comment section. So the top cornerbacks available, we'll go position by position here. Will Johnson's clearly number 1. He was my number 1 guy for the Dolphins. Now, the reason why he slid on the draft night into round 2 is allegedly teams are very skeptical of a knee injury that he has that was flagged during medical reviews. I do not care. I know this is probably a dangerous thing to say, and the Dolphins have such a issue with injuries normally, but with how talented Will Johnson is and the need at corner, I would trade up in the 2nd round. I have no problem saying that. And I know I'd be for an injury-prone corner, but I think it would absolutely be worth it for Miami to package some picks, whether it be this year, whether it be a combination of this year and next year, to move up to the top to take Will Johnson of this 2nd round. But Savon Revel from Eastern Carolina, Trey Amos, Benjamin Morrison remain very solid options for the Fins at that 48th overall spot. When it comes to corners in round 2, I don't think I would take any of these guys. Thomas, Parrish, Williams, Riley. I would consider them at 98 for sure if you wanted a different position at 48. But I don't think these 4 are really worth taking in the 2nd round. So if I'm taking a DB and a corner in round 2, it'd be one of those first 4 people on the leaderboard. Now, safety is an intriguing position here because Nic Rohloff ultimately is still on the board as well, a safety that a lot of Fins fan wanted out of South Carolina. And he's got a lot of ups, he's got a lot of downs, a lot of positives, a lot of negatives. Now, if he's there at 48, I'm taking him with no hesitation, even with corner and offensive line being a bigger need. I would probably not say the same for Xavier Watts, although he is the only other safety I would consider taking at 48. The other guys are more of 2 late guys, like in the 3rd round. Winston and Makuba are fringe 3rd, 2nd round guys, but I'm not taking them at 48. Bowman, Sanker, Ransom, and Reed, all likely options for the Fins at 98, so I'm not taking them whatsoever with the 48th overall pick. Quickly looking at some offensive linemen here. Tate Ratledge is the top guard available. Marcus Bowe is another option as well. Those two guys are the top two on my board. I like Jonah from Arizona as well. He's probably my number 3. But my number 4 guy over Wyatt Mullum is actually Miles Frazier from LSU. I also like Dylan Fairchild, and a player Miami has done extensive searching on with Jalen Rivers, the offensive line from Miami. He's an option for the Fins too. But most of these guys are likely third-round selections, not second-round picks. Would be a little bullish taking any of these guys at pick 48. So let's get into my mock draft for day 2. And with the 48th overall pick, we're not doing any trades. I would trade up for Will Johnson, but here I have Miami sticking at 48 and taking the top corner on the board. I think Savone Revel, I think Trey Amos, and I think Will Johnson all go prior to 48. But I think Morrison is still there for the Fins, the Notre Dame defensive back, who coming into the year was a projected first-round pick, but unfortunately dealt with injuries similar to Will Johnson this past season. Because in 2023, he was absolutely elite. He was a shutdown, lockdown corner for the Fighting Irish defense and was a projected first-round guy. But due to injuries, he's dealt with hip injuries this past season, only played in 6 games. Now, granted, in those 6 games, he was still really good. He allowed a QB rating of 58.4 and an under 50% completion percentage, no touchdowns, 4 PBUs, but if you're taking him, you're banking on his lower half staying healthy and the injuries to not continue to rise as he gets to the next level. I really like Morrison. He's a physical, 6-foot-plus corner that is a good man-to-man guy, but I believe he could fit in the Dolphins scheme. He could play zone. He thrives in man. And with how big of a need corner actually is, it just makes sense for the Dolphins to take the top corner available. Whether it's Revel, whether it's Amos, whether it's Johnson. I would trade up for Will Johnson, but I'm fine sticking at 48 and taking the top guy available, because only in the worst possible situation is all 4 of Johnson, Amos, Revel, and Morrison off the board at 48. And if that's the case, well, then you pivot to maybe an offensive lineman or a safety, or maybe even go to like a tight end if a good player like Mason Taylor is still there. For example, I'm going corner. I think Morrison will be there. I project him to be the top one at the time, so I go with the Notre Dame corner. We're going to get to that 3rd-round pick here in just a second, but we are sponsored by Mando, the whole body deodorant I trust to make sure I'm smelling right consistently, and boy, is that an important thing for me. And with the weather warming up, I'm most looking forward to golfing with the homies and playing basketball outside. I'm looking forward to it even more because I've started using Mando whole body deodorant, because unlike some other brands I've tried, it can actually handle anything. Clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. 12 hours after a shower, the average man's Grundle odor level was a 5 out of 10. With Mando, the average Grundle odor level is a 0 out of 10. Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, plus free shipping. I mentioned those deodorant wipes. That is my favorite product they have, because even though that Mount Fuji stick deodorant is perfect and it's my favorite deodorant to use, deodorant wipes is perfect for me on the go, whether I'm running errands, traveling, or in the studio, getting hot and sweaty, and I need a little freshen up so I'm not stinking up the joint. The deodorant wipes are perfect for me. And as a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code CHAT. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. SHOPMANDO.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Wrapping up the conversation with this cornerback pick, Jalen Ramsey's trade status is up in the air. I know a lot of Fins fans are going to ask me if the Dolphins are going to trade Ramsey on draft night. I do not think that is going to happen on day 2. I think teams are going to wait until after the draft, see how the needs shook out, and then make a deal if one ultimately comes to fruition. And plus, it benefits Miami to wait till after June 1st so they do not have a dead cap hit of 12 excess more millions of dollars. But you need to find a corner to either replace him or work alongside him, granted if you're able to keep him. So I like drafting corner. I think Benjamin Morrison's the right pick. I would take one of those 3 guys. I do like Amos, I do like Revel, and I do like Johnson all more than Morrison. I just think they all will be off the board at 48, but I think Benjamin will be there, so give me him for the Fins to become a cornerback in tangent with some of these other guys. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because we will be live for day 2 of the NFL Draft breaking down rounds 2, breaking down round 3, every pick made, every move made by the Fins. Don't miss it. Hit that sub button. It was a ton of fun on the first night of the draft. Shout out to all the legends that came through, showed love, donated, and made it a great atmosphere. Hopefully we can do it again for Friday night. All right, with the third round pick, the 98th overall selection, I have the Dolphins addressing interior offensive line. So yes, we did not neglect that here. We make the pick, and we're going with the guard out of LSU, that being a Miles Frazier. He is someone that I have kind of targeted for the Fins here. He was actually someone I had going to Miami in my final mock draft in this third round. I think he's an excellent fit. He was a great pass blocker last year on that LSU offensive line for Garrett Nussmeier. Didn't allow a sack, had a great rating. But the reason why I like Miles Frazier is that he is an athlete. He possesses a great foot speed. He is explosive off of the line of scrimmage. I think he fits perfectly well in the Dolphins' wide zone run scheme. And I think O-line is ultimately the play at 98. There's a lot of players that could be in play here. You could talk about Charles Grant from William & Mary. I'm a fan. You could hope that Marcus Bowe falls. I don't think he does. Wyatt Mullum could be an option as well. But I think Frazier is just the perfect kind of athlete to place on this O-line. Finished with a 9.3 RAS score with a good 40, a good vertical, a good broad, which shows you how quick he is off the line of scrimmage with that explosiveness. Now, you could play him at right guard and play the veteran James Daniels next to Patrick Paul to kind of stabilize that left side and then have two veterans in Jackson and Brewer sandwich Miles Frazier. Or maybe you just bring him in, see if he can compete. If he can't start, you have the decision between him and Liam Eichenberg. I don't want it to be Eichenberg, but you can have the competition and the decision made. But Frazier is someone I have keyed in on as a fit for this Dolphins scheme and system. He's a great option for the Fins at 98. All right, after the Dolphins went Kenneth Grant in defensive line in the first round, what positions must the Dolphins draft on day 2? I think cornerback is clearly one of these answers, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone said offensive line is number 2, safety is number 2. I wouldn't be surprised if someone went with the QB, wide receiver. Either way, let me know what positions the Dolphins must draft on day 2 of this draft. And make sure you do join us for that day 2 stream. Like I said, if any news comes out between now and the day 2 draft beginning in the second round later tonight, we'll have a video. Hopefully the Dolphins consider trading up for Will Johnson. If they do make a trade, they acquire draft picks. We will make a video before the draft. If they do it on draft night, we'll be live, ready to make a video and react to the pick they're trading up to go get. We'll see who Miami ultimately selects on day 2. Big day for Chris Grier. Need to add at least one legit starter with these 2 picks. Hopefully he does it with both of them, but we'll see. Stay tuned and stay locked in because we'll break down every pick.